Task Force X, the Suicide Squad. They weren't heroes. They weren't even soldiers. They were killers, cast-offs, thrown together by Amanda Waller because the real heroes were too busy fighting gods. And in the absence of hope, it was left to them, the expendables, the damned, the ones who had nothing left to lose. Out of nowhere, he was there, descending from the heavens like a judgment long overdue. His silhouette split the ashen clouds, his cape torn and trailing behind him like a shroud. Superman, no longer a hero, no longer a savior. He was something else now, a weapon forged by the will of an alien invader, unyielding and merciless. The first strike wasn't a punch or a blast of heat vision. It was the overwhelming presence of him. The very air around him burned, charged with a power that didn't belong in this world. The squad stood in his shadow, insignificant beneath the weight of what he had become. Harley's laughter cut through the tension, sharp and manic, a desperate attempt to defy the inevitable. But laughter couldn't hide fear, and fear was the only constant. Each member of the team carried it differently. For some, it was a tightness in the chest, a reminder of mortality. For others, it was a fire, driving them forward even as they faced certain death. The very air seemed to ripple with heat and force. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. The message was clear. Then this happened, not with a roar, but a crack, like the earth itself splitting apart. Superman moved faster than thought, a blur of fury and precision. Buildings crumbled in his wake, and the ground itself seemed to recoil from his power. The squad were useless, disorganized, and their movement was erratic. Now it was raw, desperate, a scream of defiance cutting through the haze of destruction. But it was hollow. The others knew it. There was no magic left to save them here. Deadshot, the professional, found himself questioning the nature of his own precision. No matter how many times he calculated the trajectory, nothing reached Superman. It was as if the man who had been their hope had become an unshakable wall of rage and power, untouchable and unshakable. Wonder Woman, the Amazonian warrior, the last remnant of a dying mythology, stood her ground against him. She had not fallen under Brainiac's influence. Her will was too strong, her resolve too ironclad. Yet, the scene before her was one she had never prepared for. She was not fighting an invader or a mortal enemy. She was fighting the very idea of what Superman had once been. And it felt like she was fighting against everything that had once been good in this world. Her knees buckled under the weight of his power, the sheer strength behind his blow shaking her to her core. She gritted her teeth, pushing back. But Superman was relentless. The impact shattered the street beneath them, chunks of pavement flying in every direction. She had fought gods, fought demons, faced down armies of darkness. But this was power that was beyond her reach. The Suicide Squad was a joke. They were nothing more than expendable pawns, sent to die in a city already consumed by chaos. Harley's frantic energy, Deadshot's cold precision, Boomerang's cheap humor. They were out of their depth, lost in a world of monsters far bigger than them. Their weapons barely made a dent against the godlike forces they faced. When the battle raged, they were nothing but distractions, fragile against the unstoppable tide of Superman and Wonder Woman's wrath. They could feel it, their insignificance, their utter uselessness in the face of such overwhelming power. They weren't heroes, they were prey. They watched as Wonder Woman, warrior, legend, fought with every ounce of strength she had left against the mind-warped Superman. It wasn't a battle, it was a slaughter. Her every blow was met with the brute force of a god. They could see the pain in her eyes, the desperate realization that she was losing, that no matter how fiercely she fought, Superman was untouchable. It was a grotesque display of power. She was a titan, a warrior queen. But now she was nothing but a pawn in this twisted game, created by none other than Brainiac. Wonder Woman's body screamed in protest as she fought against the brutal onslaught. Superman, the once noble protector of Earth, now fought with the ferocity of a monster. His every move was designed to break her, to shatter her, to make her question everything she had ever believed about strength. The Suicide Squad could only stand frozen, their hearts hammering in their chests, watching the scene unfold before them like an unstoppable nightmare. There was no bravery in them now, no cocky banter, no defiant jeers, just silence, thick and suffocating, as they witnessed something far beyond their reckoning. Wonder Woman fought like a beast cornered, every swing of her shield a desperate attempt to defy the inevitable. But Superman was a machine of destruction, his every move calculated to break her. Superman's gaze swept across the Suicide Squad, his contempt for them thick in the air. They were standing there, watching, pathetic, their eyes wide with fear, their weapons useless against the destruction unfolding before them. They were nothing but specks of dust in the presence of a god. And worse, they couldn't even help themselves, let alone save him. For decades, he had been the symbol of hope, the answer to every cry for help, the figure who stood unyielding even when the odds were insurmountable. But how many times could a man, even a godlike one, bear the crushing burden of being everyone's salvation? How many sleepless nights, how many impossible choices, before even he began to falter under the strain? Eventually, Superman threw away everything